And welcome back to another episode. No, I can't do
it. Don't be like that.
No, we're going to be doing another episode of the Team Emporium podcast where you can come in, take a look around, pick up the things you like, leave some things maybe in the comments. I don't know. More of a trade station than an emporium, but whatever. We got lots for you to enjoy. But as always, I'll introduce ourselves. I'm Ty. I DM'd a 1 to 20 campaign over the course of 5 years, done a bunch of one-shots and wrote some stuff, and so now I'm here. And joining me is...
Hi, I'm Alex. I am a problem.
The problem.
I am the problem. I've been playing D&D for a very long time, roughly 2 decades.
Damn.
And I've DM'd a lot in that time, and run some games, played some games, never done 1 to 20. As I always say, maybe this next one.
Fingers crossed.
It doesn't help that since we started doing this, I've run through in my head about 6 different campaign ideas, and we haven't sat down to play a freaking one of them yet.
I think since we started, you've already shifted from the game that you were going to play 3 different times.
Yep. It's not my fault.
That's okay. Hey, at least
the squirrely brain runs away with it, man. Just one of these days, we'll actually sit down when I have a campaign prepared, and we'll start that one, then we'll get locked in.
I think you're just going to have to sit down and write the actual arcs, and then start writing encounters and stuff. You're going to have to get granular with where you want things to go. I think that's
what I did with the Reawakening. That's why I started to compile it in a whole document for you and Monty.
Hot damn.
That way, if the worst should ever happen, someone else can run my game.
Yes. All right, well, let's hope that doesn't happen. But in the meanwhile,
True.
Let's talk about some characters up for adoption.
Alrighty.
There are heroes whose tales have yet to be told. Maybe they can find a home in your game or played by you. The Character Adoption Agency for PC and NPC seekers.
All right, so the character up for adoption today, his name is Wellman Kindlecatcher, and is your favorite race ever, the Kender. Wellman is 12 in Paladin, 4 in Sorcerer, because that's a fun place to theorycraft too, sure. But also gives him a lot of unique things that you can get out of both of these classes. Only 4 in Sorcerer, I think that's all you would really need. You're giving up some capstone in Paladin, but you still get your level 16 feat or ability score improvement. You don't get your aura improvements, you won't get your level 19 or your level 20 capstone of Holy Nimbus, but I think he gets some really interesting things to trade. Now, him being a Kender, I was like, hey, what kind of paladin could I see him being? And I was like, Oath of Devotion, a nice, simple, easy to run with, all of the things that Kender can do, which we'll get into. I took it to 4 for the Sorcerer because you could technically stop at 3 and just get your meta magic, because the important thing about getting the meta magic when making a Sorcerer is getting the extended spells, because there's a lot of buff spells that are really good for paladins, and then making them go up by 1 measurement increment is pretty huge. Like if you have one that's a 10-minute, you can bump it up to an hour. Hour goes to 8 hours. 8 hours goes to a day. Like there's so many things that you can just heighten. And then you can also quicken spell any of your smites or your buffs, and still smack people with the stick. So you're never losing the paladin slapping people around to cast your spells.
Sure.
You're only gonna have a few points of meta magic, so I do encourage at some point to get the feat, the meta magic initiate feat or whatever it's called, so that way you have just enough points to play around with, have some fun. I think it's called. The nice thing about this build and this character is, and part of the character is, you're always doing something, and so I did Lunar Sorcery just because it has some pretty unique things, I feel like.
Interesting.
So you get a lot of really good spells, including, Shield once per long rest.
Sure.
You also get access to Color Spray, Ray of Sickness, Blindness, Deathless, and Lesser Restoration are all just prepared if you're in the full moon phase, which is what I chose. You get Moonfire, which gives you the Sacred Flame cantrip. So you get, for a paladin, having Sacred Flame is going to be fun and flavorful.
Yeah.
And then, your Font of Magic, you get 4 of those to use. And then, let's see, I think I went Great Weapon Master as well.
Sure, why not? If you've got access to the shield spell. Exactly.
Yeah, so you're not going to have to, waste your time on a shield because you have a magic shield as a reaction. So just went Great Sword because it's paladin, a little tiny, little Kender wandering around with a great sword, smiting the shit out of people. Yeah, basically, he's, part of the Oath of Devotion. I thought an interesting character arc for him would be seeing the different phases of the moon. He's trying to help people get to their best phase in life. And so he's devoted to basically becoming that wanderer. You're in a place where you need to get to be somewhere else, like this is not a good place for you. You need to move on to the next phase of your life. Even, that's going to be the best thing for you. So his big concentration, of course, is going to be on other, hopefully player characters.
Yeah.
Because those are the things that are going to give you the most satisfaction playing this type of, little inspiring dude, because maybe that's part of, he refuses to stop using the greatsword because he's like, listen, this is an example of a phase that you can be going through, and you can watch me be bad at it and remember that I could change at any point, but I haven't yet. Take it to heart, incorporate that into the character.
As far as the character and his race, now I don't know the backstory of this guy, but would it have been possible for him to have been born a medium race, died, and been reincarnated? Reincarnate's the spell, right?
Yeah.
As a different race?
Absolutely. Anybody could be reincarnated. Now, depending on the table, there's got to be an updated table that has Kender on it. You say,
I'm sure
why not?
there is. And if there's not, you could just swap halfling.
Well, not only that, like, there's so many ways to get advantage in this game. So...
Well, just as far as, being in a different phase of his life, maybe that's part of it. Is having been reincarnated as a small fella, he's just like, hey, look, it's all part of the journey.
Yeah. And,
all right, I get it.
He's like, why won't you stop using the greatsword? Well, it's only bad for me in this phase of my life, but I really enjoy it. So I'm going to make sure I take it with me and use it until I get to the next phase of my life. Incorporating
Buddhist Kender.
Yeah, exactly. Until the next time I'm anything but a Kender. Actually, it's interesting. You could probably, with the reincarnation idea, what I would do with his backstory is make him something that was probably a dwarf, actually. It'd be more interesting to make him like less likely to be a paladin in his past life.
Or a hobgoblin or something.
I was thinking a shifter that lives in the woods and everything like that. And so they have that's where he gets his respect for the moon and everything like that. Maybe that's where he started out,
you know?
And so like he sees the moon and it affects and then living in nature and everything, and the phases going through seasons and all this stuff. And so, when he dies and is reincarnated, he doesn't take it as poorly as a lot of other people might, because he's like, okay, I'm just, another thing I've shifted into. Then you take that and no longer fits the environment he's in. So he has to kind of leave the woods because he doesn't have the long stride or the swift tooth or whatever, he doesn't fit anymore. So he has to move on, and it turns out to be really good for him. He finds, his god does the devotion thing, and he's really enjoying his new life, even though, it's not perfect yet, but what is perfect? But maybe that'll be part of his thing about phases is, you're never going to get to the perfect phase, but getting to one that makes you happy. And you can help those emo characters in your party, because there's always one. Or four, depending, but, he can be a nice little, oh my God, you died, tragic backstory. No, it was fine. No, yeah. I'm so much better off than I was.
Not even the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
I never had cooked food before.
That's such a wild
spices
thing.
Are amazing. We don't talk about how wild races don't. They're spicing if their food.
They have wild garlic and wild onions and shit.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man. But yeah, that'd be kind of, if you're interested in playing Wellman, that's part of the reason I tried to give him, his last name is Kindle Catcher, because I him trying to fit in with this phase of his life, he thinks of himself as being able to like help you grab that spark and grab onto it to help, light the next fire and, the next phase of your life and move on. So he kind of gave himself that last name after not having one. But, if you're interested in a little fun guy who, the buffs and everything are pretty great. Actually, I didn't even go into those yet.
I got caught up on rules minutia that kind of
evolved into something great. Roll with your punches. Because one of the fun things, like, you can attack twice, and then you can quicken spell into like Booming Blade or something, get another attack in there.
So you're making up for the disadvantage with Volume of Fire.
Exactly.
Perfect. Easy.
And then, you got different spells and things that are available to you through like Lightning Lure, to bring people closer to you. You still have your Sacred Flame cantrip, for only foreign sorcerer. I took the background that gives you Magic Initiate Cleric.
Okay.
So ended up with Booming Blade, Firebolt, Guidance, Light, Lightning Lure, Mage Hand, Mending, Message, and Sacred Flame.
Jeez,
so 9 cantrips with only 4 in Sorcerer, but the rest in Paladin.
So that's really good because and I know that I'm sure there would be some people in the comments or whatever that are like, oh, why not just do Warlock? Get your Eldritch Blast, all that stuff. But it's like this seems like a much more support build.
That's 100%. Well, and that's why the character is all about supporting people. Like,
okay, well,
because it's about without giving up the fighting aspect of things. I hadn't built a good Sorcerer in, and I was like, why would you choose Sorcerer over Warlock? And that was part of it is Warlock and Paladin, they mechanically go together amazing, but story-wise,
it's a challenge.
It doesn't always make sense. And you got to play a character with some problems. Maybe you don't want to that's not the story you're looking to explore with your Paladin. It could be, the paying off your debt while also not breaking your oath can be really fun to play with.
Just saying, I mean, a Hexblade Conquest Paladin seems like they were chosen by their weapon to go out and do some things.
Oh, yeah.
That's that one. Sorry,
Oh, yeah.
We'll do that character adoption agency guy another time.
The only thing that gets me about that is that where does your worship change from being worshiping a god and worshiping your blade?
Paladins don't have to have gods.
No, I know, but why would you need or look for another source of power when you're already attached to one? And how do you make it make sense? So,
I have something for this.
Write it down. We'll do it next time.
Right, yes.
We've already gone 7 ways off the rails. I always imagine Wellman, he's, kind of about 3 foot, I think 3'2" is what I said. Curly, reddish, auburn hair, kind of more gold eyes, keeps it clean shaven, sort of. He's supposed to be, wearing full plate and everything, of course, with the sword that's way too big for him. His very presence, when playing him should make other players and people just be like, kind of give him
what's going on here?
What's going on over here? And get that inevitable smile, like, what are you doing, dude? As he walks in, and I sort of imagine him speaking kind of like this, like, hey, you know what? There's a lot of things wrong right now, yes, but they don't last forever. Even the moon changes, the sun changes, the weather changes, everything changes. And it will change for you eventually too. So you can bring him down into a more serious, but also have him, just kind of, what else changes? This steak has gone from rare to medium rare. We don't want to get it any further, sort of.
Yeah, you can do the archetypal small character comic relief thing.
Exactly.
Sure.
While also giving, if you choose your moments correctly, he'll grow out of that archetype that you can start him in. So then people will go with you on it.
I've also found that characters that start out as comic relief, if you're good about picking your moment for those serious or heartfelt moments, I mean, it hits so much more heavily than it does for the character who's always serious and emotional or brooding.
Yeah.
And that stuff, because, when a brooding character says something dark and serious, it's a Tuesday. When the funny character says it, it's, oh, hang on now, what?
Squeeze me, bacon powder? Yeah. Yeah, so if you have any interest in Wellman and he's, well-meaning sort of dude who will help, Kindle Catcher, I think I'll keep the link below. It's a D&D Beyond link as always. But yeah, I would love to hear about it if you're interested in playing a non-optimal attack, but optimized for support Paladin.
Well, thinking about it, just as kind of a last thought of the Warlock versus the Sorcerer thing. Probably going to get a little bit of static for this, but a Paladin Warlock player wants to win D&D. A Paladin Sorcerer player wants to play D&D with his friends.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I just called you out. You. Yes, you. The one who's upset about this right now.
Listen, I'm right here. You have to. No, but we'll... Oh, man.
There's my spicy take for the day.
I'm going to write that down for next time.
The way we play.
All right. The way we play, we're going to talk about one of the hardest things to do as a DM.
Oh, God almighty.
It is how to get your players to talk to each other in character. Now, this is definitely going to be something that changes from session to session.
And party to party.
And party to party, and is very specific, but I think I have a few ways that can help. One thing I did this last weekend was I ran a murder mystery of sorts.
So much fun.
And,
oh my God. It was so good.
Well, it's the first session of it. It's more of a short shot than a one shot. But one of the things that I did was separated everybody for introductions. And then you had expressed interest in playing somebody who was kind of a private detective. So
yeah,
I was like, perfect. So I took your character first and introduced them to an NPC who gave them a task.
Right.
Now, this task was where we have to find out what happened to, the Duke, Bentham Warwick, and the hell. So and then the other player characters, I put in separate rooms on the estate to be interrogated. So one nice thing about this sort of introduction is having one character who's interrogating all the other people. Everybody is not only answering questions, but then it adds a little mystery to the person who gets to ask.
Yeah.
And they get to play with that. So their character development and their character stuff gets to be the slow release, while everybody else has to kind of make decisions early.
Yeah, they get put on the spot a little bit, and they have to all of a sudden come up with accents and mannerisms and speech patterns and stuff. And it was honestly, it was a privilege to watch that happen right in front of me with everyone.
And the really cool thing about it is you could also watch somebody just make a choice on an archetype. But then as the session keeps going, they already start growing out of that archetype, but having a really nice solid base of, oh, this is what I'm doing, was really fun to watch. And then the thing you also can do is once they show you something about their character, as a DM, add something to enhance it. So with the druid, there was there to basically the flower girl kind of commoner.
The gardener.
I had them mention that they're working on a replica tree. And then later you guys found a replica as a spell component. And one of the reasons that tree probably wasn't doing too good.
Because it's being harvested for spell components.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then Monty chose to do a super nervous character.
Oh, which is so great because that's so not him.
Oh, it was perfect though. So what did I do? I gave his character alcohol to enhance the nervousness and make them a little less guarded and to give them something to play with as far as how they're going.
It's so funny. That's why I was trying to get him to have more alcohol during the interrogation, was to loosen him up and calm him down a little bit.
And then with Hammer's character, I put them in around a bunch of plants and everything like that. So that way I give them something super specific, and you could tell when I was describing the room, you could watch his posture change as he was imagining his character sitting in this very vibrant place.
Yeah.
And so that, with him, the more clear the picture around, the more he could fall into the gentleman mercenary sort of older gentleman archetype.
Honestly, I mean, we've had our share of challenges with getting him to kind of get into character and role play at times, but I think this was probably the best I've ever seen from him. Was this last session. It was amazing. He fell into that character. He made character choices, not player choices. Sorry, I'll stop gushing about your short shot because it was awesome.
Well, and one of the things that I did is I gave a singular NPC of the butler, basically.
Oh, yeah.
And made sure I described him down to a T so everybody could, and then I had him also do the individual thing where everybody got, their individual moments first. And then I had stuff like, you're an honored guest. What does your character request for food? And then he's like, I wouldn't, being a soldier wouldn't care too much, try to pass it on. And like, no, we're under strict orders. You have to choose. But since he was the honored guest and the rest were just guests, they got the food that he requested,
I
things
saw
like
that was great.
To show, so he had to make a character choice. And then the other characters got context of why their characters and how their characters are there and how they're seen. I gave Monty, moral quandary here. His expedition might be getting more money or might be getting fired. And so, he's like, oh, wait, I can lean into that and be just nervous about why I'm here in doom and gloom, and then the second location you guys went to was a flip-flop. You go from button down Victorian house to bar down the street.
Yeah. To seaside tavern, basically.
Exactly. Oh, hold on. My wife was calling me. We'll come back in 1 second. So, flip-flopping the environment actually is one thing I really like to do to people because it's one of those, you figured out your character in this context, here's a new context. How do they act here? And that's where Mallory's character got to come alive because she was more of a commoner. And so she just started going to the bar, hanging out, flirting with the bartender, having a good time, know. I'd also tried to make it easily imaginable area, by making it kind of a typical stereotypical tavern with the tipsy cyclops and the bartender has an eye patch,
Right. Yeah.
You guys had all shown really Victorian characters, so I leaned into that when I described the bartender and how they looked and but also turned it up to about an 8 out of 10 by giving them just like extra fancy stuff because, it's on the property.
Right.
And then for the investigator guys who are being quiet in the corner trying to figure things out, because you'd gone back to talking to the NPC who'd introduced you.
Yeah.
And that was to make sure that you felt more like a full investigation and not just okay, you're off on your own now, bye. So that
exactly.
way, because, the constabulary still wants to know what's going on, so...
Yeah.
And then, what did you think of the Magical Crimes Division being a dead-end job?
I love that because it's like if this is going to be like a very long-winded campaign or a full 1 to 20, so to speak, I could definitely see it making part of the focus of my character being proving that this is not a dead-end job. You're just all bad at it.
It's funny, because I give you basically a Gordon to
my Batman.
To your Batman, yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, they somehow ended up with 3 rogues and a druid, so that was entertaining. But, so then you flip the situation on its head, so it's a much more open environment. Mallory's character opens up, goes crazy. Hammer's character shuts down because he's uncomfortable, And then you have Monty's character who is too poor to buy anything and requests milk, and the bartender messes with him a little bit because they're already nervous and showing like, you have a very reactionary character. Mm-hmm. You have to give them something to react to that's not the same as everybody else. So here's a book of dirty limericks,
And just the way that while he was, pretending to read a book that didn't exist, how his expressions changed and how he just kind of emoted about that was wonderful.
Exactly. And what the great thing is, hey, I know, this character, other characters talking a lot and coming out of the shell. Here's something for you can still be in character and do. And have fun with, and he ran with it, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
And then after all that, we finally got to the first
one
real
of the hardest
clue
combats I've ever been in.
And combat, yeah. Oh my god, you guys were so unlucky.
Well, it didn't.
I've never had a succubus even pull off the life drain, let alone let it happen twice.
Well, part of the problem is that we're all rogues that are not optimized for combat.
Nope.
And we didn't have dark vision.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no way to get advantage to let the one good fighting thing that rogues have.
Oh, it was so funny. And then when you finally did get some light, one of you got charmed and beat up the person who had the light.
Seriously.
Broke the concentration. I didn't think, because they're only CR5. I was like, you guys should mow through these two. It'll be some fun, charm, tense moments. But then it was just like, oh no, you guys are screwed for the day.
I don't know. My character is going to take a long, hard look at that combat because that's probably the hardest fight he's ever been in, despite, all of his training and everything that he's been trying to do since he got back to the city. He's going to look at that and realize he needs to start doing something else to enhance his abilities, which is probably going to be, now there's an actual in-game reason for him to start dipping into Artificer.
Well, there you go.
Because he's not a strong guy. Strength is his lowest score. So he's going to be like, okay, I need to do something to...
I need my bat belt.
Pretty much.
Belt. Well, and the cool thing about that is it also helped me as a DM be like, oh yeah, last time you ran this, there was one more character. So you guys made it through that hard-ass combat. Here's a reward. You guys can level up. And that'll help the rest of everything that I have balanced for one more person. It'll make you guys feel like you made some progress. It'll make you think about the next step in your character, so you're even more in character for when we play next time, because we don't know when that'll be.
Yeah.
And when eventually somebody does forget about their what they were about the leveling up and we get back to it, it'll have to go back and do like a recap of, oh yeah, and then I wanted to do this. And so it'll bring them back into the moment, because there's no party on this planet, I swear, that will level automatically instantly when you tell them to level up.
Yeah. I'm certainly not that guy, because I have to go home and think about it. Like, unless it's one of those characters that I've, planned every possible thing out. Yeah.
But
I feel like we're getting off topic.
Sorry.
Getting them to play, getting characters to talk to each other.
So one of the things that I also like to do for this is when people start talking above the board, to be like, in character. I'll even do it when I'm not DMing, like, say it again in the voice,
Yeah, you've done it to me a couple times.
Yeah, because it's
the voice.
I can't react to your character's choices if you're not making those choices in character. So, like, I'll just straight up be like, do it in the voice, and then I'll do my voice back, so that way, you can give people a reaction, because it is easier. It is so much easier to just be like, hey guys, what are we doing again? Like, let's just plan up here. But then you're like, no, back in the character, because too often we get lost in what we want to do versus, and don't give our characters a chance to, like, one of the things about being in characters, you can argue in character and be bitter in character, and then like I've even done all pop on back, guys, this is characters mad, Ty's not mad, I'm just vibe checking everybody. Okay, we good, all right, and then back into, you know.
Yeah, he did that recently, actually.
Yeah, and that's another thing that actually does help people stay in character, because I feel like, you know, it's like, why am I going to be in character if your character's just going to be pissed off all the time? You're like, hey guys, I'm having a good time. You guys having a good time? I'm not fucking up anything for anybody. All right, back to brooding. You know, like, you know, or back to salty Fey boy. You know. So, but and you know, that's another thing you as a player can do to help other characters is vibe checks, because you don't want people to be like, oh god, I'm gonna have to go back into dealing with this salty jerk, you know, be like, you know, just pop on vibe check, be like, hey, making sure I'm not ruining anybody. We're all good, still good, still good. You tell me, I'll tell you. All right. But, and then, you know, that also helps you build trust to be in character, because, you know, there's a lot of times character choices, you can make a character choice, and if the wrong group or bad communication or just wrong day even, people can laugh at your character choice, and that just feels
Sucks.
bad, man. You know?
Yeah, that's why often, not always. I mean, recently I've, you know, the last couple games you've seen me in, aside from the one that you ran, I played characters that don't talk a whole lot necessarily, because then like it's like I don't have to verbally make the choices as the character. I can just do it internally. Everyone just goes, oh well, that's kind of how he works. And that's why a lot of my more not necessarily vocal characters, but like paladins and stuff tend to kind of lean almost into a Warhammery aspect of like their fervor, because they can hide behind that as a, why'd you make that choice? And it's just like, I did it for the cause.
Yeah.
And then you can lean into that and not have to worry about, like, if people laugh at you, they're laughing at the cause, not the character choice.
Yeah. See, and you know, I'd like it, you know, it's a good safety net to have.
Oh yeah. I'm not saying that it's a good thing to rely on all the time, but it's definitely a safety net type thing. It's a security blanket.
Well, and like part of that though, it gives the other players less to engage with than your characters, have you noticed? Like, and you know, it's like, why do they do that? Oh, that's just what they do, you know, like, no. So that's why, you know, you notice my characters will be like, interesting choice. Can you explain that to me? No, I know that part, but the rest of it, you know, how did you get there? You know? And then, so like, I'll make your character explain why how they got to it being something their cause is even concerned with. And that's another thing. The best thing you do, just ask questions.
Seriously, yeah.
Like, too many people, you know, I know it's not a normal, you know, a lot of people don't think of, you know, questions as a normal conversation, but when you think about it, so much of your conversations are just asking questions, especially, you know, that's why I tend to play inquisitive characters who just want to know everything. I call them backstory fishermen, because I'll dive deep, I'll reel you in, you know. Or the background miner, you know, I'll mine it out. You know, there's been multiple games where I've run into games where people didn't know anything about each other's characters until I just show up and go, "Hey, what's your backstory?"
Well, that's such a
like,
solid choice, because if you think about it, especially with like the brooding character / player archetype, that's, you know, kind of so common in this game. I've been in games before, like before you came along, where, you know, by the end of the campaign, no one knew anything about each other. It's like everyone has these, you know, dark, compelling backstories that just beg to be explained, and no one ever asks because everyone's so wrapped up in their own garbo.
That's another thing is, you know, sharing secrets or forcing secrets is a good thing to do as a DM. Like, Monty did a really good job of forcing a secret out of my character in a very organic way.
Yeah.
You know, my character, we'd met a freaking platinum god dragon, you know, Bahamut, and we'd figured it out. And it's funny because it was like, wait, only 2 golden animals? We're safe. And then it was like, nope, the others are fighting right now. Fuck!
Yeah.
You know, like, and my character mentioned debts. And, you know, he's been trying to plot hook me to drop the debts. And so I've been doing like little clues. I've also been paying the debts the whole time. Like, and above table, everybody knows my character has debts and is trying to pay them off. But in character, it was one of the very first times it was hinted to the rest of the party that Irahim might have around a little too much and is finding out. But, you know, he did it so organically by having this big fucking, this character of power let me make an assumption of why they were judging me, and I'd be like, was it because of the debts? He made me say it out loud, you know, and then, you know, just having powerful characters judging your characters, you're going to spill something.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and then
kind of like that whole, one of the best interrogation techniques is silence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and then he 1-2 punched. It was really funny because Hammer responded the exact opposite way. He went above table and went, why is he picking on me? And it's like, oh no.
Yeah.
Back into character. Asking character, you know?
Yeah.
Why don't you ask him why he's picking on you? And it was one of those, it also kind of was one of the, you know, Monty was trying to make him think about his character and what his character could be judged for or why, you know, but he just like, well, those are the reasons. I don't know why he's being so mean to me.
Yeah.
It's one of those, maybe there's something deeper going on there. You know, you still haven't really responded too much to the fact that your mother was hanged, you know, like
all this bad stuff happened that will get us censored on a lot of platforms. Not that bad.
Not that bad. It was like, calm down. But like
brutal execution methods.
Exactly. And like, it's just, so when getting people to respond in character, you know, you can create those same situations, but then be like, I don't know, ask in character, you know, instead of you'd be like, just, even if you have to do just trust me, responding in character, you know, remind them that you're trying to create a storytelling moment. And this could be their storytelling moment if they think about it and embrace it. You know, and that's the big thing is create opportunities for backstory to come out or reasons to talk to people. If you don't have a backstory miner in your party, maybe you have an NPC who asks about specific backstories. Maybe have an NPC who recognizes a religious symbol, or recognizes something about the character, or has heard of the character eventually. You know, I'm trying to get it to the point where people go, "Oh, it's Irahim Gold Boots," you know, because I have teleporting boots that were supposed to be useless, but I'm like, turned them into part of my act so they can be filled with gold. You know,
oh, they're fantastic, honestly.
Which reminds me, I have to buy fancy socks.
Silver socks for your gold boots.
No, gold lace socks that have a pattern of shoes.
Oh Lord,
it's gonna be ridiculous. But you know, I guess a lot of it is there's a few steps: create an opportunity, create NPCs, and then create different situations close together. So that way your character isn't stuck in one context for so long that they get too comfortable there. And then, you know, have them exploring another context before they solidify too much into that one context. Can help them have that other side of their personality come out before they've decided that personality doesn't exist as much. So
I think another important thing that we can give to the DMs that are listening is let them talk.
Yes.
Oh man of La Mancha, I cannot stand it when it's like the party's really getting into it, like talking in character. Everyone's, you know, letting little things about their backstory out. Everyone's getting to know each other and themselves, because you don't always know these characters as well as you think you do.
Well, you know, that's one of my favorite questions is, what's their favorite food? I'm like, I don't fucking know that. I know. Now it's your chance to think about it, you know?
Well, when you're really getting into it, and then the DM's like, and roll for initiative, wolves are attacking. It's like, come on, man. Shut up.
The wolves can attack anytime. We're really getting in it.
Let this happen. This will make it better for you, bro.
Well, and that's another thing. Your anxiety about things not happening as a DM, it can overwhelm you.
Yeah.
And I get it, but like you said, let it ride, man. Let it ride.
Yeah. Think about it like this. The longer they talk, the less time you have to do math in your head.
Oh, that is a really good point.
Yeah.
Honestly, you know, it's one of those, hey, you know, everything you had prepared for this week? What if they talk long enough that half of it's still prepared next week and you have less work to do?
Hey. What's not to like?
So there you have it. If you're having trouble with your, you know, getting your guys your gals to talk in character and
your folks.
Oh yeah, your what was it? God, David Bowie had a really good way of saying it, but you're everybody's. You know, if they're your players, there it is. Yeah, if you get your players, you know, too much above table, remind them that don't play the game. Play the game where it's meant to be played, on the table, because it is very easy to chessboard it. That's not what we're here for. Most of us, anyway.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on, I think we've got. Well, we're gonna call this discussing discourse because wild opinions on that there internet.
Yeah. Really, though. Oh.
All right, so we tend to talk about things we want to talk about. Well, pretty much that's all we do. That's what we're here for.
That's why we're here.
We're looking at some of the online discourse, and one of the things that keeps coming up consistently is how do you decide which monster attacks who?
Yeah,
and that's a fair question. It's because you are, as a DM, you have to decide everything for all of the monsters.
Yeah.
As always, with most DM situation-specific questions, it depends.
Yeah, really, though. It does depend. I mean, for me, it comes down to intelligence and instinct.
Yep.
Because if they're fighting, if your players are fighting a bunch of smart guys, and the smart guys see, that dude who looks like Mickey Mouse's teacher in Fantasia, they're probably going to shoot him first. But if they're fighting, a pack of wolves, the pack of wolves probably just hungry. So they're going to go for the one that limps or the one that's closest. So whatever looks weakest and easiest to take down, or, hey, this one's right here and it's swinging an axe at me. Let's get it. That's just my opinion, and very basic and on the front.
Yeah. Well, and one thing I also like to think about is when you're considering who attacks what and when, also think about what causes them to run away. Because too often, things will stay far beyond their logical point of leaving. But
yeah, my favorite is the wild animals that fight to the bitter end, fight to the death.
Exactly.
Like their honor is on the line.
Oh yeah, like you can have a pack of wolves attack, and as soon as one goes down, the rest go, fuck this, and run away.
Yeah.
But one thing I also like to do is how much, when it comes to smarter monsters and things, how much would they recognize at a glance? Because, they recognize at a glance, yeah, there's the guy in the armor and everything, but they could also be thinking, that's the really strong one. If we take him out first, the rest are going to be easy.
Yeah.
As long as you can explain it to yourself is the big thing. Try to make it specific, like bandits on the road, they know less. They probably think you're guarding the rest of them. And once the guard is down, you guys will just give them the money.
Yeah.
They won't go, get him. And then all of a sudden, they
they mob the wizard.
Exactly. But it also is a chance for you to choose what's going to be cool for your story. Like, hey, you're being sneak attack shot, but they shot the monk.
Yeah.
The monk can reaction catch the bolt out of nowhere, and then you get intimidation checks and stuff that it evolves beyond a normal combat.
Mm-hmm.
So, what fits the story first for me, what they can immediately see and react to in the moment of combat, how long they've been studying the party, and what that instinct will be is the last one, because that's usually instinct's the easier one of the, because with a bear or something, if I can just drag somebody away, real fast before they can get out.
Oh man, having wild animals attack a party the way that wild animals are supposed to is not a way to make friends with the player who's food.
Loud noises make them run though.
The giant crocodile drags you into the swamp and starts to eat you. Wait, what do you mean? I mean that you're making death saving throws. Then somebody else shoots the grenade belt, and that's the end of both of them.
You're making death saving throws while the gator's making death saving rolls.
Absolutely.
And that's a really good point. In the middle of the night is a situation where who do you attack? Because everybody's sleeping. There's nothing closest.
Yeah. Roll a die.
Roll a dice. Or if somebody's sleeping next to a pile of armor and you're bandits, kill him before he can put his armor on.
Get that guy for. Well, I don't know. You could do an entire combat before he gets his armor on. Exactly.
They bandits would know it takes a while to put on your armor. So quick, get him while he doesn't have armor.
Yeah.
Or he relies on armor. Get him fast. Or everybody else looking fairly normal people. Again, he's the guard.
Yeah.
And because I think a lot of people feel like they're metagaming when they attack the tank. And I feel like that's just not true.
No, not at all. He's probably the the tank is probably the biggest presenting threat on the battlefield.
Oh yeah, getting up all in your business too. Like the barbarian. He has no armor. Why is he still moving? Shoot it again.
Yeah, seriously.
Shoot.
More.
And oh man, I can't drive the story beat one enough. Like especially if you have like and this is something I think more DMs should take into consideration.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a player who's like having like a really bad day or something, give them something exciting. Like give them a heroic moment, you know.
Also, don't kick them while they're down if
Don't
they're having a
kick 'em
really
while
bad
they're down.
day.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Someone says, "Hey guys, I'm just having a really rough time. Work's been hell. Grandma just died. Something like that."
don't kill their D&D character.
Yeah, don't kill their D&D character. Don't steal their magic sword. Save that for next week.
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna be playing this game for a while. They don't need that right now.
Seriously.
Or give them a really cool moment. You're like, hey, I need you to roll for perception. You're on watch, and say they do. Then they see somebody and are able to sneak up on them or something.
Counter ambush.
Exactly. Give them something fun. Or
give them a win.
Give them a win. Give a monster an extra 5 HP so they can get the kill.
Sure.
You might consider that metagaming, but you wouldn't believe table tone changes when somebody who's already having a bad day has bad stuff happen to them.
Yeah.
And then everybody just starts feeling bad.
Yeah.
In general.
Yeah, it's not, and that's not so much like a metagaming thing or abandon the hit points for the drama of the story. It's just they're probably your friends. Help your friend out.
Yeah, exactly.
You're in a unique position of power and influence where you might be able to give them something when they need it.
Well, and I think too often it's easy and I think a little bit of a crutch to just lean into, well, that's the way the game goes. It's like, you're in charge of that game, man. Like
that's something I have to fight with myself constantly because it's like, oh well, logically, that's how it do, man. That's what it's like out in these dungeon halls. And
if you're telling a shorter term story, 100%. But like because short term story, you need stakes, you need establishing, you need everything like that. Long term story, you got to get the whole story for one, but also, your tone over time is going to affect so much of how your players play the game. And so if you find yourself constantly logically attacking one person, that person's probably going to have a worse time than everybody else, So,
or they're going to start making some really interesting choices like, why, yes, I was a wizard, but now I've dipped fighter so I can wear full plate so that they stop hitting me.
Exactly, and you don't want to, yes, occasionally, forcing character choices can be good, but you want to do that through plot, not through bullying.
Yeah.
He's got a wizard hat. Kill him. I'm a monk, bitch. Got your heroes.
Through character circumstances, not player circumstances.
Exactly. Or, like the fighter starts wearing a robe over his plate because you've just shot the wizard too many times, Oh, man. But you want, then that's the thing. You'll create unnatural character choices if you're not careful about that. So that's kind of it.
Yeah. I mean,
you got to take it, your plot point, your players, the logical standpoint, the instinct standpoint, and then just the cool factor as well. So
it can't just be base instinct and tactics. You got to think about the players as well as the characters.
Well, and that's one of the things I think that's why this question comes up so often is because I know when I was initially DMing, I wanted somebody to say that out loud, that these things are all okay to take into. You don't just have to run it like a video game that has parameters.
Yeah, really.
Because remember, DMing is not parameters, it's storytelling.
Yeah, the books are there for your parameters. You were there to make it better than a video game.
Exactly. We rely on dice and rules so that way we can't just say, I'm Superman, I punch him, they dead.
Yeah.
They help make they
provide the framework.
Yeah, they turn it into an actual game.
Yeah, not just in group storytelling.
Exactly. Which, we do anyway. So
right.
All right, what do we got next?
Otherworldly inspiration.
I don't know. I feel like we've discussed this discourse. I think we kind of nailed this one. So
yeah.
What the next thing?
Spell specialist. Because magic is complicated. And who wants to read all that? We do.
Let's talk about Bless.
Bless, baby.
So, Bless is a first level enchantment. 1 action, 30-foot range, a verbal, somatic, and material, a sprinkle of holy water. If you're running with material components, a lot of people, if it doesn't have a gold worth, they kind of forget about it or let your component bag your way out of it. I always like adding them for flavor when they're there. So I imagine, for Bless, I always imagine like you dip your finger into a vial and then the drop of water like defies gravity, goes up from your finger and then splashes at the top into way too much golden
light
and then individual like singular uh, tiny thin beams onto each person who gets the bless. Concentration up to 1 minute. Can be extended out to 10 minutes through the sorcerer nonsense we were talking about before. And it reads, you bless up to 3 creatures of your choice within range. Whenever a target makes an attack roll or a saving throw before the spell ends, the target can roll a d4 and add the number rolled to the attack roll or the saving throw. At higher levels, when you cast this spell using a spell slot of 2nd level or higher, you can target 1 additional creature for each slot above 1st. Now, this is basically, it's guidance, it's bardic inspiration, it's badass.
It's wonderful, yeah. It is so good that I adapted it, obviously a non-magical version, to that project I've been working on that we'll get into another time.
Cannot wait to talk about that project. But, well, like that's the interesting thing about Bless is there's almost never a bad situation to use it. Mm-hmm. The only thing is it being paladin. Like paladins, I have to be a little wary of it because they don't have too many spell slots.
Yeah.
Clerics though, just damn, you know, like. But that's one of the reasons I like it for the celestial sorcerer. I think can get bless. There's feats and things that you can take to get bless. So if you're a spellcaster and you just want to be a little more support, maybe your party needs a little bit more help. Maybe y'all didn't roll too amazing for your stats, so bless could be the difference between making your saving throws or not, or
using the standard array and may God have mercy on your soul.
Standard array, and then here's the thing to get powerful.
Yeah.
But I think one of the interesting things about bless is it not having any cost to it other than the spell slot makes it really good for Sorlocks, like we were or not Sorlocks, Paladin Warlock combination. Warsadin Warlock? Palilog? I don't know.
Hexadin is what I always see, but
it's the one because it's almost always Hexblade, yeah. But that's really good for them because it being a low level, usually 1st level spell, you can get your spells back on a short rest and just burn those for blesses, which, it's very, very power gamey, but it's very effective.
Not really, though, for a Warlock Paladin, it's like, you can burn, one of your spell slots after every short rest for bless, and it's like, you have 3.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're level 15.
That's why I think it's, if you can get it onto a sorcerer, it's one of the strongest places for bless. Because
if you can extend it out like that, the time duration, holy crap.
You freaking just, hey, we're going to go through a trapped hallway. Bam. And then up to, we have it for 10 minutes. So the fight at the end of the hallway, it's still there.
Yeah.
Now, its big fallback to doing that is concentration. So.
Well. Oh, well.
Yeah, just if you're a sorcerer, you're probably playing pretty safe already, and you probably have access to the shield spell.
Yeah, so I think you'll be all right.
And actually, properly built sorcerer, your con doesn't have to be something you dumped either, so you could probably have a decent chance at having that saving throw. You could take Warcaster, to make yourself even better at it. One of the reasons I like it, and it's one of my favorite spells, is yes, it's amazing in a fight, but also if you just need something to happen, you can be like, somebody guidance, you bless, bardic inspiration. Yeah, I've started to thinking of it as the Baldur's Gate stack, because in that game you can just stack all of these things and then give yourself advantage and stuff. But like it's the Holy Caster contribution beyond guidance. That'll. It also is very, very good at preventing damage to heal as a cleric. It's because, too often you'll turn into a heal bot if you're not careful or if your party's not careful.
Yeah.
Quicken Spell can also turn it into a bonus action since it's only an action cast. It's not like a 10-minute or anything. So you could bonus action bless and then still go about your day without having to, and you have a cantrip you can cast if you're a caster, or you can hit it with the stick,
And how many? It's 3 to start?
3 to start. So yeah, you can upcast it to just, anytime you upcast it, add 1 other person. So
that's I think that's probably somewhere that most people would consider it like kind of a crutch for the spell. Or not a crutch, but an issue, because your standard party is 4.
Yeah.
So in the party that I was talking about that I'm in, there's 3 of us.
Perfect.
Yeah, so it's just bless happens. It's just like, oh, everybody benefits. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been in a situation where a level 1 bless covered the party, so I had to do a little pick and choosing or upcast it because, but that's,
But also, I mean, that's part of the trade-off for a smaller party is things are going to be harder, but your lower level spells are going to affect the whole party. So
exactly. You can keep you can compensate.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also dipping Twilight Cleric, so like we're fine. It's fine.
Damn. Oh man, we got one of those in the upcoming campaign. That's gonna be sick.
Awesome.
I'm so excited. Dude, Twilight Cleric. Yeah, but yeah,
I just wish there were more and cooler gods that had Twilight as a domain.
That is
like the only one that I like on that whole list, at least that they have on D&D Beyond, is Helm. Even he's like, I have to work to like him.
Yeah, I'm allowing Raven Queen as being a Twilight Cleric because the Twilight of your life, and everything like that. Because it is kind of about the transition from day into dark and everything.
Light today, Jesus.
And that's, I think any of the passing through death gods, there's a strong argument to let them be Twilight.
Yeah.
But bringing off topic, but it is a good thing though. I think too many times we don't think about the flavor of spells until like we have a moment or like spells just seem to happen a lot in D&D. And that's why I wanted to describe the, how I usually see it happening and, taking that inspiration of the spell component. But you could also do god specific, like with the Raven Queen as an example. You dip, you pull the water, and then it forms into a feather, and then that feather, bursts out, and then 3 feathers land and disappear on the 3 who are blessed. Bring your god into your flavor of your spell casting, because there's nothing that it doesn't say specifically what it looks like at all.
Well, even if it says, that's just flavor text.
Exactly.
That doesn't mean anything. You can change that.
And it's another way for your character's expressions to come across. Say you're playing a super happy character and then they cast it and it's Raven shit. People are gonna be like, "Was that God you again?" Things like that. It gives you a chance to enhance so much, like Gond. The inspirational God. You reach your hand up in the air and you turn all of a sudden a cogwheel that's there, and then all of a sudden the 3 appear over people and they start to spin faster. Like. You're adjusting their cog in the universe and how they, you're having all of these things that your character already can do.
Yeah.
And they just need that little extra layer of flavor. And Bless is such a good one because it doesn't say anything about how it works. You have your spell component being water, which can turn into and become anything.
Yeah.
You can do you can have it fly up into the air. You can have it drop into the ground. You can pop the bottle and it does it itself. Like there's so many different ways to describe how this is going to happen that, if you're a sorcerer, you could even have it, you prick your finger and holy water comes out because you're a celestial blood. There's so many fun things you can do. And for the record, don't expect your DM to take your flavor and turn it into a game mechanic because that's not a reasonable ask.
That's not how that works. Flavor is flavor.
But I'm going to use my blood for the holy water for this. Yeah, because it's a spell component that we can just issue, or you can have some fun and flavor with it. But I'm not going to let you, cut up your wrist and create a vial of
bless
of holy water,
Oh, yeah. But I'm a blood cleric. Oh, how neat for you.
So there you go. Go into the wild. Make your player characters talk to each other in character. Get attacked by all the right things. Have fun. Yeah, cast bless from your sorcerer paladin combo Kender, whose weapon is way too big for them. And at the end of the day, as we always say, run the game you want to play. And yes, we are having t-shirts made by Superliminal Tees, so should be a link to that down in the doobly-doo. I'm trying to get them to make a t-shirt that says Fey bullshit, but that's going to be just for me. We got Kender Medicinals has thrown us some money to talk about them, so if you're got a dog who likes to stay being a dog, check them out. All right, I think that's all I got.
Yeah, that's all.
All right.
All I have to contribute.
Roll to end podcast.
1. We have to keep going.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Hold on. What are we gonna? Oh, shit.
You've been listening to the DM Emporium podcast. To support us, click the links in the description. Buy a t-shirt or join our Patreon. Join us next week for more builds game running theory, and useful tips for any campaign.